Bring out the brooms. First win in the new green jerseys, by the way. We lost last year to the Mammoth, but the Bandits avenged that defeat by sweeping the Toronto Rock last Saturday at 7 o'clock p.m. 14-12 was the final score. Secondary scoring showed up.
Hmm.
Toronto had the lead for a lot of that game, but the Bandits, like they usually do, shades of 2022, shades of 2023, the Bandits did not say die. 14-12, the Bandits are back to above 500 at a 7-6 record, winning back-to-back weeks. Tony, how are you feeling after sweeping the arch rival Toronto Rock?
Well, I'll tell you what, I am happier than any St. Patrick out there for that weekend. I'll tell you that. And especially with bringing out a new set of brooms to sweep another rival that we needed to win that game big time. It was
Yep,
a must win for Buffalo. It was a must win for the city, and they pulled through. And yet again, the magic number was number 14 to do it for them as they won 14-12.
that's right. You mentioned it, I think back-to-back weeks. You're going to win every game if you score 14 goals.
14.
14 is the magic number. And what we
That
said
is.
on the preview, a lot of that stuff hit. I mean, we said the secondary guys got to show up. Who was the first Bandit to score that night? That's right. It was number 4. I think the most
Ian
underrated
McKay.
player on this team, Ian McKay, showing up.
Uh-huh.
Despite our old buddy Corey Small scoring a couple goals on us, Tehoka showed up. Dylan Robinson on a fast break. Hey, look at
Yep.
that. A breakaway goal that finally drops in for the Bandits. We love seeing the secondary guys, and we love to see, big physical guys like Zach Belter make his presence known in that game.
Hmm.
We knew it was going to be physical the whole way, and I think the Bandits really outbodied the Toronto Rock, which is something I really wanted to see, and was a key contributor to the fact that, hey, we were down by 3 goals, 9-6 going into the half. If we get the ball, we knock it out loose, we use our bodies to knock the ball out, we're winning the turnover battle, we're winning the physical battle. These goals are going to go in. I mean, Dane Smith is back as far as I'm concerned. Josh Byrne is back. But when you establish that physical presence, they're going to choke that lead away, and they absolutely did. That was a fourth quarter collapse by Toronto. Great for the Bandits to jump on that opportunity.
Yeah, we couldn't ask more for our offense, especially like you said, the secondary scoring. What a setup and what a way to step up too, and especially in a big game like against Toronto. You had Chase with 2, you had Ian contributing, Dylan contributing, you had let's see who else contributed. Basically Weiss
Tehoka.
contributed
Yep.
too. Tahoka contributed. That's the thing you need. You need to take a little bit of the weight off the shoulders from your stars like Dane and Josh and Chris. Guys, I mean, this is an all team effort win. I'd say, yeah, there was some keys we'll get to that didn't go our way, but yet we still found a way to work as a team. We won the word it counted. It's the score 14-12. The magic number hit again. And I tell you this, it might not be the best defensive look, but again, it's the way to hang in there in most games. You get double digits, like I said, 14 is the magic number. Secondary scoring stepped up. Everyone did their part. Bandits can't lose. They can't lose when they play
No.
as one.
And there were definitely a lot of saves. I think Matt Vince should have stopped. The shots that are going through the 5 hole have kind of been a new habit for Matt
Mhm.
Vince, and a lot of the goals that he's always due for 1 goal a week, where he makes like 95% of the save and the ball rolls in behind him.
Mhm.
He's got to clean that up a little bit, but the defense had his back that night, and the offense did too. Despite being down 9-6 on a power play, and the Bandits came back into the second half with a power play of their own and made it a game and completely took over the fourth quarter. That shows you
Right.
that this team still has resiliency. Despite losing against a team like Vancouver and losing against Georgia, they're still a very similar team to what they were last year. And last year, they
Right.
never said die. So the fact that we can see this come from behind cardiac style Bandits win, it's a
Mhm.
lot of shades of last year, and it's giving me a lot of the same vibes from that championship team of last year.
Yeah, especially how we're like slow starts but strong finish could also be a big factor too as well. Yeah, we had a basically toe to toe in the first quarter, and then we just couldn't find a way to score against Toronto in the second. But again, it was like hold back. Let's save our strengths for the end because we're going to need to, especially against teams like this. And look at lo and behold, 6 good goals in the fourth quarter that gave them the final push. That's what they needed. And especially how going up against a rival like Toronto, especially being at the top of the National Lacrosse League right now, but they're going, how the heck are we going to defeat Buffalo if we have to face them again in the playoffs?
Right.
That's a scary sight to see for them.
And it was kind of a weird start of the game too. Like the game was
Mhm.
on pace of the Bandits winning 24-20. 6
Right.
to 5 at the end of one is
Mm.
unheard of. And then they just went AWOL in the second, which we have
Right.
seen time and time again this year. And then they flipped the switch in the fourth quarter and said, you know what, we're going to put this game away, sweep
Yep.
Toronto. And now they got the head-to-head tiebreaker sealed up against the Toronto Rock no matter what happens.
That's right.
And as of right now, they are in fifth in the playoff
Yeah.
standing, so they are trying to climb their way back up. They're in a solid spot. If they take care of business this week, which we'll get into on the preview, they have a chance to get back in the top four and host a playoff game.
Yep.
So they're definitely taking it week by week, like we said. And the face-off numbers, we saw all. We heard the comments in the stands. What's going on with the milkman, Connor Farrell? What's going on?
Right.
Well, he did wake up that morning with a fever of 102 and still played. So
Yeah,
he
he played
wasn't
sick,
at
guys. So
100%.
just so you know.
It was like Michael Jordan's flu game, but except his team won, similar to that of Michael Jordan's that night. Even though he didn't really put up any flashy stats, he still won. I believe it was nine faceoffs.
9 out of 31. Yeah.
9 out of 31. Yeah. Our power play, I feel like we could have done a little bit better on the power play.
That
1
hurt.
for 6 on the power play is something that we really haven't seen before. And I think the
Right.
penalties are still sort of an issue with this team.
Mhm.
We just got to stay out of the box. We know that they were going to bait you guys, and they obviously had better power play numbers. They went 50%, 4 for 8 on the power
Yep.
play, and we had 16 penalty minutes. But still, to come out on the winning side is always a great thing to have, and to have Dane Smith scoring hat tricks in back-to-back weeks is stuff that we love to see. Josh
Huge.
Byrne with
Huge.
multi points. I mean, what was it? I mean, he had 5
7.
assists alone, 7 points. Dane
Yep.
Smith racking up the points. Steve
7.
Priolo knocking out 9 turnovers and 9 loose balls for him.
Yep.
And even though Matt Vince gave up a few goals where the fans were kind of scratching their heads, he still stopped 46 shots. And he snapped that streak of 4 consecutive starts, giving up 13 goals or more. So even though he did give up some of those goals, he's still trending at his age. He's starting to trend back into his usual self and trend in the right direction.
Yeah, Vince is, again, like he said, he's coming back off that injury. He's not going to be perfect. I'll tell you that right now, but he is going to keep you in the games. And especially with making key saves, and especially with like when you go, oh, that's my bad. And with having those goals going against you, you got to also keep your mindset saying, all right, I made a mistake. Let me fix it by making the next save. The next save is the biggest save. And sure enough, he kept his composure. He was, he remained calm, and he played his best. And that's what he did. He kept the boys in the game. We ended up winning by 2. We move on. We go play Panther City this week coming up.
That's right. And while we love seeing the green jerseys, we also love seeing 18,463 members of Bandits Mafia pack the KeyBank Center. Yeah,
Awesome.
Sitting above us, there were a couple Rock City fans. Every time Nick Rose made a save, they would chant Rosie, and they walked out of the buildings with their head hanging low. But Daddy's back. And I don't know if you saw on Wikipedia, Tony, but somebody messed around with Toronto's page. Did you see that? And
No,
it
I
said,
did not.
Owner. You can go into Wikipedia and change some stuff.
Sure.
Somebody with a Wikipedia account went in. It was a Bandits fan, and it's where it said owner. They erased the guy's name, and they put down Buffalo Bandits.
That's great. I never saw it, but I mean, I would be cool to see it pop up and show me. But that's awesome. Just to put the dagger in the heart for them, because they can't find a way to beat us. No. They can try, but they just, for some reason, they just can't finish.
They try and they fail. It doesn't matter how stacked the Bandits roster is, how stacked Toronto's roster is. The Bandits usually give them a hard time, and they win a whole bunch of those times. 18,463. That is absolutely crazy. I don't know. Did you read the article that an NLL insider put out there like a week ago, where the Bandits had like 16,000, and he said it was disappointing?
Yes, I did see that, and I'm like, why?
Dude, unbelievable. And I saw Scott Loeffler pretty much rip him a new one on Twitter. So big shout out to Scott for putting him in his place. But I'm
Attaboy.
sick of these like fake writers and these troll writers saying 16,000 is bad for Buffalo, but you're at the same point that same guy is going to congratulate Halifax for getting 10,000. Like
Yeah, which is unheard of.
we can't have it just one way. Like he's contradicting himself. I saw now he's a member of Bandits Mafia, and I have to ask why. The admins of Bandits
Yeah, that is kind
Mafia,
of
I don't know
weird.
why the hell this guy, I'm not even going to mention this guy's name because he's not even worth the plug, but why
Nope.
is he now in Bandits Mafia posting about how Connor Fields should still be a Bandit if Buffalo managed their team properly? Like, what?
Well, that's up to them. I mean, honest to God, I mean, he all right. It's basically like saying you got an opinion of one thing and an opinion of another. You can either accept it, you can agree to disagree. That's all you can say. Yes, Connor Field should have been a Bandit. I can honestly say yes. But due to circumstances and with people living in other people, like they want to live closer to home and they figured a team's right there, they're going to obviously move it around. And like, look at, were we upset when Brad McCauley went to Vancouver?
Of course. Of
Absolutely.
course. Yeah.
But Vancouver's his home. We got to understand it's probably because of his work too, as well. It's the same for anything as goes. And if you're hearing me, whoever wrote that about, with
You
all
know who
Connor
you
Fields and
are.
that, listen,
Yep.
listen closely when I say this. It's if they want to work from and they got to work from home and they want to still keep playing in the NLL, they got to play for their respected team in their city. That's all there is to it.
Yes.
Yes, it sucked losing Connor Fields. Yes, it sucked losing Brad McCauley. But what are you going to do? It's not our call. It is the management and it's the organization to do what's best for the players too as well. Yes, it sucks because we want to have them still be a Bandit, but it also makes them think, well, if I can only play for Buffalo, then it's going to be hard for me to like get back home, do my job, and then I gotta I know I have no time for my family at all. So I get that too. So
Yeah.
you got to think of it like that too as well.
You know what? And I'm sorry that the league is expanding and there's such thing as an expansion draft, but it was either
Mm-hmm.
him or Chase Fraser, pretty much. And Chase Fraser showed up in Game 3 of the finals last year. In Game 3 of the finals in 2022, guess who didn't show up? Connor Fields.
That's
So,
right.
I mean, just go with the facts. And I want to shout out Herb. I'm a big fan of his stuff in Bandits Mafia
Yeah,
too. He said,
sure.
could you imagine a team full of shooters and no one to open any lanes? That was the Boston Blazers. Having two players on the same side doesn't work. Then he said, are you the same person that said Buffalo couldn't win a championship without Connor? I mean, that's
That's
100% true. How many championships did the expansion Blazers have before they ceased operations? Zero.
100%.
They lost, I think their best season when they had those top shooters like when they had Garrett Billings and Brendan Tainhouse. They
Mm-hmm.
had those guys that can snipe and score goals, but they didn't have any guys to open up lanes. That was one of our problems in 2022 with a guy like Connor Fields. We had Byrne, Fields, Dane Smith. They could all score. Nobody to open lanes.
Right.
And I think Toronto ended up beating Boston we beat Boston in 2009 in the first round of the playoffs that year. So, I
Mm.
mean, we just got to speak the facts. And 18,463 fans in Banditland will never be disappointing. 16,000 will never be disappointing. This is the
No, we're allowed no
epicenter
matter how many you're there.
of the fan base, of the NLL fans. This is the mecca of the National Lacrosse League. People, when they want to go to their first game, everyone tells you go to Buffalo. So don't let
Go to
some
Buffalo.
troll writer say 15,000 is disappointing, because our numbers in 2022 when they started letting fans back in, they weren't obviously like people were still cautious about leaving their houses and stuff and going out to the games. We
Sure.
were average. I mean, what did we have, like 11, 12,000 per home game roughly? We
About
were still
average.
one of the top
I'll
teams in
I'll
the league.
agree to that.
But teams like San Diego, Philadelphia, man,
No, barely anybody.
freaking
Anybody
Panther
did.
City, they would kill to have 9,000 fans.
But they didn't have that amount. They had like maybe one or two.
Yep. So
That was it.
the mecca of winning, they're 7-6 now. Tony, I'm feeling good going into this game against Panther City, but before we do that preview on the next episode, we got to give out our players of the game for the St. Patrick's Day game. You can
Absolutely.
choose anybody on the score sheet, but I want to give it where credit is due, and I'm going to give it to number 92. Back-to-back weeks with a hat trick. Dane Smith
Yep.
found his goal-scoring touch. What I have to say to the league for my message to the rest of the league is watch out, because Dane Smith, he found his flair again. So everyone on the league should be put on notice. 92, you're my player of the game.
Yeah, you want to keep him on chains this time because the dog's going to be loose if you let him
Yep.
score.
Who let the
And
dogs out?
look what I tell you is that when Dane Smith does score goals, teams win with him. And I'm telling you, with Bandits, he's going to help them if he scores again with getting another Hattie, even for the upcoming game against Panther City. That's I gotta get a feeling like it's a guaranteed Vic. That's all I can say. But other than that, great spot to give him that opportunity because he definitely had the most points again. Well, him and Byrne had the tying, but due to the goal differential, because he had the most goals more than he did,
Yep.
Dane Smith obviously was the player of the game in your eyes, and I think in a lot of Bandits fans' eyes too. So, but for me, yeah, I would have said Connor Farrell in a heartbeat because the face-off dude is definitely putting a spotlight on him.
Definitely.
But I mean,
And the
yes, I
fans
hope you
love
feel
him.
better. By the way, Connor, I hope you feel better too if
The
you're listening in.
fans freaking love this dude too. He got one of the
Yes,
loudest cheers coming out of the tunnel when they were introduced him. The fans love this dude.
absolutely. And well, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna lean towards another player who's unexpectedly been really picking it up lately, even though it looked almost promising where he got hurt during this game too.
Yep.
But he came back, he scored again. My player of the game is number 4, Ian McKay, who has been an all-around player, transition, forward, defense, you name it. He's always there filling the void, and he is just becoming one of the unsung heroes of this team this year that rightfully deserves to be on the spotlight with the rest of them.
Yep, and the transition game, which has been lacking in the month of February, they've really been turning it up in the month of March, and it's credit to number 4 because I think he's the one that leads the charge in the transition game. So big numbers from him, big numbers from Dane. Josh Byrne, he's on a routine tear. This is what Josh Byrne freaking does. So a lot of people are going to say, "How is Josh Byrne not your player of the game?" We respect, we know how good Josh Byrne is, and he's definitely up there. But I mean, to have Dane Smith coming back, who's been struggling all year long, look at this dude and look out for this upcoming week against Panther City. But 14-12 final from the KeyBank Center. Bring out the brooms, Tony. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The Bandits have swept their little brother in the Toronto Rock, and we have the head-to-head tiebreaker over them going into the playoffs this year. If we make there, if Toronto holds on to that certain spot, we'll see what happens when the cards come together and we see who's lining up in the playoffs 1 through 8. But Tony, I think it's our time to hit us with a sponsor.
Yes, we'd like to thank Mitchell's Tavern, located up at 734 Sheridan Drive, up in Tonawanda, New York. Guys, the best beef and wick on town. You guys got to go check it out. Mention the boys of Banditland Boulevard. Myself, Tony LaMonica, over there, Trevor the Power Hour. Let them know that we sent you, and they said, hey, you guys have the best food, the amazing service that we all been looking for. Go check it out. Please, you will not be disappointed. And also, we'd like to thank those who are watching us live on YouTube. We'd like to get you to like and subscribe to our channel. Give us that five-star rating as well. And also hit that notification bell every time that there's Buffalo Bandits Lacrosse on demand. Also, we like to thank those who listen in on every device known to man on Spotify.fm and Anchor. Guys, give us that 5-star rating and let us be the only station that you talk about Buffalo Bandits Lacrosse.
Let's go, Tony. Big game, big win. We hate Toronto. They hate us, just like what Dane Smith said. We don't like them. They don't like us, but the Buffalo Bandits took care of business. Take it week by week. You're in a good spot. If you win these next 2 games, which you guys definitely could, you're looking at a home quarterfinal matchup. Keep winning. The season was not dead. To everyone out there that thought it was after the Vancouver game, it's not. The season is not dead. It's just beginning. So
that's right.
With that said, Tony, let's hit him with 3 words to sign off this post game. What are those 3 words?
Let's go
Bandits.
Bandits.
Let's go.
Let's go.
We'll see you in Fort Worth, Texas.